Hello, I'm Jonathan, and welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. The Lambs begin their 2024-25 National League season at home to Sutton United this Saturday. Brett, Graham and myself preview that game, and we chat to a Sutton United fan for their take ahead of the match. Don't forget you can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you enjoy the podcast, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this episode a like. It really helps us grow our audience. So then, chaps, the new season is so nearly upon us now. How are you feeling, Brett?
Yeah, I just want to get started now. Obviously, we've got a couple of days to go. Looking forward to the game on Saturday. I saw some wild statements saying what happens if we sell out and there's no tickets left. I mean, I do think there's a little bit of fanaticism gone on over the summer. People seem to have forgot, actually, that this ain't the first time we've played in this division and that we've been here twice before. You know, you're getting talk of sell-out crowds and uproar that we can't drink on the terraces, and people saying that they could only dream of playing teams like Sutton United when it was only probably 15 years ago we were in a division higher than them for quite a while. So, I just want the season to start. I want the excitement to continue. But then once we get out of August, and I'm talking way ahead now, I just want normality to kick in. And then we are Tamworth. We are a National League side. Yes, we are going to have to really dig in and really put in some performances, but we're here because we should be here. So I just want to get started. And obviously I want to see how the new signings are going to settle in, how we're going to set up on Saturday, how we're going to set up for a defensive game, an attacking game, a game that might take a bit more work, what we're going to do on a cold Tuesday night, what we're going to do on a hot Saturday afternoon, for example. I just want to see what it's all about now.
Be a song, Brett. Then that'll last bit of your segment. Yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. I think pre-season's been mixture of performances, I guess, but I'm not really reading that much into it. I think obviously pre-season is pre-season. It's players getting fitness. There's new players coming in. It's got a big squad, a lot of kind of rotation with the players and stuff, and can't really even predict what our lineup's going to be come Saturday, to be perfectly honest. It's quite interesting to hear Andy Peake's in his post-match interview from the Telford game. I think he knows what his starting 11 is and his subs by the sounds of it. It's good that he does because I just don't think I'd have a clue at the moment. I think there's been some bright sparks though in pre-season. You know, what we've seen with Beck-Ray has been really interesting, and Miracle as well. Those two guys have linked up really well, especially these sort of past two games. So that's quite exciting going into the season. And I guess it's just seeing how the new players will integrate within all of that as well. But yeah, just buzzing really to get going and see how we do and see what the step up is like. And yeah, if we can handle it as well. But I'm feeling optimistic. Ask me the same question at the end of August and hopefully the top of the league.
If Tamworth are the top of the league after the August they've got, I mean, that would be one heck of a start to the season. We didn't really mention Sutton United on our predictions episode, did we? Which I'd recommend everyone listening check that episode out if you haven't already. They were playing League Two football last season. However, there has been quite a sort of turnover of their squad. Lots of players going out, lots of players coming in. It sort of feels if Tamworth are going to beat, one of the big clubs, which Sutton surely have to be given they're an ex-EFL team. It's going to be at home. It's going to be when the opponent is still gelling with all their signings. I still just don't know how I feel about this game. I think genuinely any result could occur and it wouldn't surprise me. Graham, what do you think?
Yeah, I think like you say, the advantage is that we the players we've got have been together for a few years. We know our drill. The manager the players know what to expect from the manager, and we have a way of playing. And we have a few ways of playing. So I think from that perspective, we can go into it full of confidence. And I don't think we should even worry about, Sutton were in the EFL last year. Yeah, they're a big club. Yeah, they're going to be probably one of the favourites to be up there, at least, because of where they've been last season. But I just don't think we should even be worrying about that. We should worry about ourselves and go into this game. As Brett said, we're there on merit. We're there for, the reason that we're a National League side. So that's, forget about the past now, look into what's in the future and what we can aim for. And we just got to go into that, that game with lots of confidence. Obviously, we're a part-time club coming into basically a full-time league. But I don't think we need to, we don't need to worry about that. The players know their jobs and we've got good momentum. So I think it can carry us into this season.
There is also a new signing who might well feature on Saturday against Sutton, George Morrison, who's joined on loan from Fleetwood. I'll admit I don't know loads and loads about him. I've been doing a bit of reading today. Sounds like he's maybe in a bit of a Jamie Jellis mould of player, like box-to-box midfielder, Scottish youth international, won young player of the season at Kings Lynn last year. And we said many times last season, like that Kings Lynn team was much better than their league position suggested. So, I mean, there's options in this squad. Any thoughts, Brett, on the loan signing?
Yeah, I said earlier on in pre-season, really, that I thought we should probably really look to the loan market to see what extra bit of talent we can get in on the cheap, if you like. That's the exact kind of player that we probably need. Go back to 2004, 2005. That's a Sakani Simpson kind of player from Bristol City. And look how well that worked out for us. He was an integral part of our season that year. I think he played every game at right back that year. I mean, look, obviously he's got some decent players who he's got to obviously compete for to get into that starting position every week, and maybe he won't start every week, maybe he will, but in return we need decent players for the competition, so that needs to up people like Shakuri's game, Sundari's game. Alex Fletcher needs some competition. That's only going to enhance our squad further. That's what we need, a bit of strength in depth in all around, and that's why I still think one more striker out of these trialists, just get them in. Even if they then go out on loan, let's get an extra in. Anyway, we're a big club now. We're in a position where we can be loaning players out to the lower leagues. I don't see any harm with taking on another striker, loaning one out to someone in the Southern Prem till Christmas, and then they come back in. They do us a job. A bit like what Michael Giassi did last year for us with Boston. Came into us, didn't really do a lot for the month or so that he was with us, but still became an important part of that Boston team. And obviously that worked wonders for them as well. Another piece that actually I thought was quite interesting that I also saw today is the prediction leagues are out, and we've been predicted to finish 17th.
I saw that prediction league just before I jumped on the podcast as well. I did find that interesting. I also found it interesting that they predicted Braintree would finish 5th. I mean, they do look like they've got quite a decent team together, but it's quite a bold prediction.
Even today, I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 different predictions by various creators on social media, and the range of Tamworth predictions is vast. I've seen from mid-table down to rock bottom of the table, which you never know how much people know about Tamworth when these predictions are made, but it just shows there is a reasonable amount of mystery.
I think that's the thing. That's it. You've hit the nail on the head. I think we're a very unknown quantity, and we keep saying that, and that's our biggest. I think it's our biggest advantage, really. Nobody knows much about us. And yeah, fine to keep it that way, to be perfectly honest.
Well, then, to give us the Sutton United fans view ahead of Saturday's game, we're joined on this episode by Mike from the Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, Mike. How are you feeling ahead of Sutton's visit to Tamworth on Saturday?
It's mixed. I'm going to be honest. It's hard to know because the past season, past 18 months has been quite dull as a Sutton fan. Going into games, you're losing more than you're winning. There's been the odd bright spark that you're like, okay, here we go, this is it. But it's not been great. Although, in fairness to Steve and the management team that came in just after Christmas, things were getting a lot better. But then he's shipped out nearly everyone. And so we've got 16, I think, at the last count, new players. So it's really difficult to judge. They're all quite young. But that could go either way. That could be without any fear whatsoever and just go for it. Or it could be when things get tough, they need that leadership. But I'm looking forward to the games being more fun and going and getting some results rather than just expecting to lose every week. So if anything, that's what I'm hoping for.
What would be a successful season for Sutton United?
the consensus is playoffs, but then there's other people going, well, we're going to struggle. We could easily bomb down, especially if the players don't gel straight away. And then there's others going, no, absolutely, we're gonna win the league. And you're like, yeah, you've only been supporting us for like 3 or 4 years, haven't you? So, personally, as I say, I would hope for a tilt at the playoffs. I wouldn't be end of the world if we didn't get there. For me, it might be nice to have another day at Wembley, but we always lose at Wembley, so maybe not. I spoke to one of the sort of major investors, and I said, "Is it going to be a disaster if we don't go up?" And he basically said, I don't think it'll be a disaster. It's there's changes I want to do off the pitch, and there's a lot of them that can be easier to do in the National League than they will in League Two. So I think we want to be competitive, and the players and the management will definitely be going for promotion. But at least if we do something well this season, I'll be quite happy. But a lot of people are expecting that as minimum.
Can we then, Mike, tempt you into a scoreline prediction for Saturday?
Right. So last season, I ran a prediction league, and there were 55 games, and I got every single one of them wrong, which is an achievement because I wasn't going like 6-0 or anything. I was going 2-1, 2-0, all that. So I got every single one of them wrong. So I'm quite proud of that. But I'm going to go 2-1 Sutton, simply because most matches finish 2-1 and I can't go against Sutton. So I'm going to go 2-1 Sutton.
The same scoreline that I went for.
Yeah, I think you did, yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't put any money on that. If anyone's listening, don't put on 2-1.
I'm being a little bit more optimistic for us. I was actually going to go for a 2-2. It's been quite a few goals you've scored in pre-season. I've seen you scoring quite a lot, and we seem to have been scoring quite a lot, which is also conceding quite a lot. So I fear that. But yeah, no, I'm going for a 2-2. I'd be really happy with that if we got that, to be honest. So
yeah, exciting draw.
Yeah, definitely.
I wrote down 1-1 before we jumped on the call. I think I'm going to stick to that.
Stick to the 1-1. Okay.
I think, but even to be honest, I think I'd take a very good performance and a defeat, as long as it's not an absolute drubbing.
Yeah.
Just because I think August is really tricky for Tamworth, and it might be about a slow build of momentum rather than necessarily getting points on the board straight away.
I think we want to grab as many as possible, as quickly as possible, to get confidence in these young players.
So we almost had a similar sort of start last season, because we had Scunthorpe on the first game of the season at home, and they just got relegated from the National League. It was a similar type of thing, and I think we lost 2-1, but we played very well. We probably should have got something out of it, so it's kind of set us up nicely for the rest of the season, even though we lost. So yeah, like John said, if we play quite well, then yeah, I think we'll take a performance and a loss. But yeah, hopefully we don't. So.
Is there anything, Mike, we haven't asked you about that you wanted to mention while you're here?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for giving the full name of the podcast, because it's one of those very clever that I have to explain it all the time. So it's SU Sutton United TT Talk Time on podcast, and it's the Sutton podcast. And I sent it to my brother, and he went, "Yeah, you're going to spend the whole time explaining that." I was like, "Nah, it'll be fine. It's so obvious." And now I spend the whole time explaining it. So.
I will admit, I nearly stumbled over the title when I was reading it when I introed you.
It's fine. Sutton Podcast works as well, because that's what the website is anyway. So
good for SEO, I imagine.
Yeah.
Well, good luck for the season. Not too much good luck for Saturday, I'm afraid, but
I tend to go with good luck for most of the season.
Yeah, that works.
There's two games that we're not doing.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we'll see you again before the away game just before Christmas.
Absolutely.
Keep in touch.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
Talking of predictions, then, it is the return of our predictions mini league on the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Graham, of course, the reigning champion. A reminder from last season, you get 1 point for a correct result and 3 points for getting the scoreline exactly correct. And this time, all three of us will be making predictions. Guys, any changes to your predictions that you gave to Mike? I'm going to stick with a 1-1 draw for me. Brett, are you going to stick or twist?
Yeah, I think 2-1 Sutton. In a good way, though, in a positive light. It was 2-1 against Scunthorpe last season, so 2-1 against Sutton. End of the year, we'll be going up, thrice in a row.
What a lovely voice. Graham, you going to stay the same or change your mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Tool. I'll be happy with that point on the first day against the ex-EFL side, and yeah, I'm gonna go Tool.
Any thoughts, Brett, on who you'd like to see start on Saturday? There is genuine options in a lot of positions in the squad going into this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know where we're at with injuries still yet. I haven't really said like who is or isn't fit, fully fit. I mean, people have gone off with precautions and this, that, and the other. But I think if you had that full squad given to you, like, this is your squad that you've got for Saturday, everyone is available. I think, if we're going to do starting 11s, then obviously Singh in goal, Cockerill-Mollett on the left, Curly on the right. I would put Cullinane-Liburd, and I've been thinking about this over the weekend. Would you go for Willits or would you go Diggy? Well, I think given the way he's contributed towards some of the goals in pre-season, you'd have to go Jamie Willits. I know that means the back four's unchanged, but that was our spine last season. Keep it as it is. Keep it as it is. Let teams work out how they're going to break us down. Midfield, then, I think you've definitely got to start Beck-Ray, and I would then go for, I could go Carl Finn on the left. Midfield, I think obviously Milnes has got to be in there. He's captain. Fletcher, I would put him in. And I think we go with George Morrison then in the middle as well as a 3. And then Beck-Ray on the right. So you'd have Finn and Beck-Ray moving up to the top. And then, again, I think you've got to start with Miracle Okafor. I know that might be a bit risky that he's going up there, up top on his own, first game in a new league, professional league as well. But look, his return for pre-season has been the most prolific out of the strikers that we have got. So, I mean, look, why not? We give that an hour. If that ain't working, you take off one of the midfielders and you bring Creaney on or whatever to sit slightly behind Okafor or Okafor slightly behind. But let's not forget, you've got Finn as well. He can get up the top and attack if it's needed. So that's the point of the 2 wingers. So, but that's what I'd go with. I think that's quite that's a positive starting 11. I think you could quite easily put Hayden Hollis in there, who's a bit more defensive minded. You could have gone for 2 up front with a slower move forward, slower movement up the pitch. But actually, I think that's positive. You're going to set up at home, first game of the season. You've got to start positive.
Any major differences, Graham, for you there?
So goalkeeper, back 4, exactly the same. I think them for exactly the same reasons, because that's our, what we're kind of built from, really. And I'd say that probably our, at the moment, that is probably our best back line. It'd be nice just to keep that regular back 4. In terms of the midfield, slightly different and sort of probably a bit of a surprise, really. I'd start Beck-Ray on the right, and then I'd probably go McGlinchey on the left, and I'd put Carl Finn on the bench. Now, I know that's a surprise, but just from what I've been hearing with Beck-Ray during pre-season, and I like the idea of McGlinchey on that left. I think he's a good player. Beck-Ray linking up with Miracle up front. I want to see that combination from the start, really. So I'd keep Miracle up front, and then I agree with Brett, Milnes, and Fletcher, and then I'd probably just have Shakuna just in as a kind of shadow striker, just because Shakuna, Beck-Ray, and Miracle, they all seem to have linked up quite well during pre-season. So a bit of a surprise that I put Carl Finn on the bench. Never thought I'd say that, but we've got quite an embarrassment of riches in terms of midfielders and an attacking play, especially wingers. So it's quite exciting, really, that we can mix it up with different options. And you got the likes of someone like Chris Ray that can come on. You can bring on a Creaney, it will change a game. Carl Finn will change a game. Might even mention Benakwai. All game changes. I think that you can just, as I'm talking through it now, it's almost like you can almost understand in Peake's head how he's got similar players in similar positions and the style of how they play. So, yeah, I can certainly see it's kind of like for like with certain players. You could just swap them out. But yeah, that's what I'd go with. Not too much change from Brett, other than probably the Carl Finn one, which I suppose is a bit of a surprise.
We will leave it there for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you enjoy the podcast, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this episode a like. It really helps us grow our audience. Until after the Sutton United game, goodbye.